Hey everybody, it's Professor Parish. I want to apologize for getting to this week's video so late. I have either been unable to film or have not been feeling well, so I want to make sure I'm always at 100% when I film these. So what we're going to do for this weekend is I'm going to film not only this week's assignments, but also next week's. So I will put in our announcements right here. That's where these videos have been uploaded at. I will put week 14 and week 15 in the description so that you know you only have to watch one video for both of these weeks. It's a 2-for-1. So let's go ahead and start talking about what's due this week for week 14 and then what's due next week. So as always, scroll down to week 14. We have 3 things due. We have our second reading response, our narration drop box, and the week 14. So your narration paper is due this weekend. Please make sure that you have it uploaded by Sunday at 11:55 in order to get credit on this assignment. Your discussion forum is also due, and I'll be checking those this weekend and grading. And then your reading response number 2, that assignment is actually, I'm going to pull it up. Basically, the guidelines for it are right here. And like I said, we are going to do these reading responses towards the end of class. So show you all what that looks like. So in English 122, when you get to English 122, we are going to talk, if you take my class, we're going to talk about Nick Sheff and David Sheff's 2 stories, Beautiful Boy and Tweak. So the idea behind these 2 stories is that Nick Sheff suffers through a lot of addiction on meth and other drugs, and he wrote this memoir called Tweak while he was in rehab. And then David Sheff writes about his experience as a father dealing with a son that's struggling with addiction. So this interview is kind of about them talking about that battle that each of them face and how they wrote the story. And then afterwards, I want you to read this article about memory, which is here, because the cool thing about Beautiful Boy and Tweak is that each of these 2 individuals are authors talking about the same events just from different points of view, which I think is fascinating because they each remember situations in different ways. So this article on memory, I'd like you to read after you watch the video, and then in your response, make sure you have a brief introduction, a brief conclusion at the end, and then in at least 1 page, answer these 3 questions and make sure that it's double spaced. I will take off on formatting. I will take off if you don't have all the parts that are included in these guidelines. If you have questions, you can always email and ask me, but this is going to be very similar to our article number, our reading response number 1. And it's due by Sunday night. So you've still got plenty of time to do it. And the video is not very long either. So that's week 14. Your narration, please remember to turn it in. Your discussion forum, and your reading response. The discussion forum posts are due tonight, which hopefully you've done that, but you can still turn them in Saturday or Sunday if you haven't. So then next week we are starting to talk about our very last paper, which will be argumentation. There will be our 3rd reading response and our 8th grammar review. So grammar review number 8 is right here from our textbook. And basically the idea behind it is to go ahead and look at page 527 to 535, and we're dealing with apostrophes. So I feel like for some people apostrophes are really easy. So for some of you this may be a very easy assignment. If you struggle with apostrophes, I would definitely read the chapter on them. They talk a lot about placement, where the apostrophe goes. If you have questions about apostrophes or any of these questions, you can always email to ask me ahead of time. But just make sure that you answer those questions there. There's only 15. It should be a very easy grammar assignment, and you can work ahead if you want to. As far as reading response number 3, again, this is for next week, little bit different. Let me pull it up. Pull up the guidelines for reading response 3. Again, you're going to be watching a short video. This one's really funny. It's from this woman, Lindsay Ellis. She writes a lot of academic argumentation essays that are videos, and I think she's fabulous. She's writing a letter called Dear Stephanie Meyer, and if you know who Stephanie Meyer is, she's the author of the Twilight series, and so she kind of reflects on her views about Twilight when she was in college to now that she's out of college. So it's a very funny, interesting video. I really like her way of arguing, and I think it's a nice introduction for us into the idea of arguing your point in a paper. So the same thing as reading response number 2. Watch the video, have a brief introduction, answer your questions, and have a brief conclusion. It's pretty straightforward. Just getting us in some more writing practice as we lead into the last paper. And then this weekend, our narration paper is due. Next week, we're going to start the writing prep for argument. Argument is my favorite paper because we all as humans naturally have opinions about things. And so what I want to know for this is what your topic is, what your purpose of your paper is going to be, and then an outline of your paper altogether. Obviously, if you go into great detail, you'll get extra credit. But yeah, so for argumentation, your paper needs to have an introduction, obviously, body paragraphs, a conclusion. It has to be 3 full pages. Your theme needs to be something related to argument. And the thing about argument, too, is that you're not just only trying to express your opinion and say, I'm right, you're wrong. Your job is to persuade your audience that you're right and give them lots of reasons why and back yourself up. So you may have to use research. I want you to try to cite your sources, try to use some kind of MLA format. When we do the discussion forum in class where you review your paper, I'm going to give you feedback on that if you do include citations. So please try so you at least get some feedback before those papers are graded. It's worth 50 points like our other papers, and it's going to be due during finals week. So I mean, this is our last push. You will probably do an argument paper like this in English 121, so this is nice practice for that. And then obviously, if you have questions, if you've never wrote an argument paper before or anything like that, you can always ask me any questions that you have. So, and I'll be in my office in the afternoons this week, so that should be helpful if you need to come see me, or you can call and email, always. But yeah, that is our main assignments. We are slowly wrapping up this semester. We have this weekend and the assignments there, so please make sure you get them finished by Sunday. And I'm going to change those. Yeah, no, that's Sunday, April 14th, 11:55. I was looking at that. Yeah, they're all due by 11:55 on Sunday. And these assignments aren't going to be due till the next weekend. We really only have week 16, 17, and then finals week. So it is winding down. As we push into this last few weeks, you do have to have a C in this class to move on to English 121. So please make sure that you're doing the math, seeing what you need to make, doing all of the assignments each week. I know that there are 3 assignments a week, but in all honesty, when you get to English 121 and 122, there's going to be more, or just as much as that. So you need to be prepared. But just ask me questions if you have them. Make sure you're turning in everything on time, and feel free to get on here and double check yourself. All right? Otherwise, everyone's doing all right in the class. Those of you that are turning in your work, you're doing fine. You all hear from me constantly, I'm sure. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will probably not get to your papers on narration until next week, but I look forward to reading them, and I especially look forward to seeing what you're going to write about for our argument paper, because I'm really excited to see that. So in the meantime, let me know if you have questions, but otherwise, I look forward to reading your work, and have a good day. Bye.